Hello everyone. This is Corey again with Camera Coach, and this is Full Frame with Corey. The episode number, I believe, is about 20 right now here, and this is a podcast about photography and all things photography, really. So it can be just products, it can be about just different things I've learned, how to improve, what it's like being a certain type of photographer. You name it. I'm just going to try to keep producing some content for you guys just to help you just understand more and just give a chance to kind of get your thoughts together and respond also, so give me some feedback on things. But yeah, so this is it. My name is Corey again, Corey Dunnigan. I'm a photographer and photography teacher. I am located in Waco, Texas. My business is called Camera Coach, and so it has two primary purposes, right? So hence the name Camera Coach. Number one, using a camera, taking pictures, right? So capturing the moment, all those sort of things. I do sports, portraits, event photography, product photography, and then along with that, I also am a teacher. I'm a certified teacher in the state of Texas. I taught for 15 years, 5 of which were actually teaching commercial photography at the high school level, and so I've taken that and I do some after-school classes with a program in town called Triple Win Waco, and then I'm developing my own classes and my own workshops and camps, those sort of things, for youth and for adults. So Camera Coach is I think, kind of the best of both worlds. I get to do the photography, but also still get to teach because I love that. And so this is a part of it, right? So teaching, talking about things, helping people understand photography is what this podcast is all about as well. So let's see, a quick moment for sponsors and shout outs. Right now, I want to say thank you to the supporters on Patreon. That would be Kenan, Mandy, and LaShonda. You guys are amazing. Really appreciate you. I'll shout you out every time. If you are interested in supporting and you'd like to get some recognition as well, then feel free to jump over to patreon.com and /Camera Coach. And you can actually support for as little as $5 a month. Okay, so there's some personal support. There's also business support. So if you wanted to sponsor an episode, even a YouTube video or something like that, those are options as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But I'm going to jump into something a little bit different here. I've got some special guests here on my table. And so I've got a little gimbal here. So if you're not familiar with what a gimbal is, it's just something to help get you some smooth video. And it's a really small one. It's actually called the DJI Osmo. And really cool, really small. Something that you can just kind of charge, get going, take it out of the pack and connect it to your phone, and then use it for time lapses and a little bit video and that sort of thing. Primarily, I use mine for time lapse because I think that's a pretty cool deal. Set it on a stand, and it can even do moving time lapse. So, if you are interested in gear, you're looking for new equipment, there is a spot on the website photocameracoach.com, which is a gear guide, just kind of a spot where I put links to equipment that I'm using. Okay, and it's not really like I'm just advertising. Everything on that, I'd say 98% of the stuff on that list or on that website is stuff that I'm currently using or have used, and the other 2% is really something I've had access to, I just don't own it. And so you can always find information about things there. You can reach out for a consult if you're looking for a certain type of equipment and you want some help with that. You can just reach out, email, or find me through social media, and we can take care of that. Okay, so the Osmo, got a Nikon D7500 here, and a macro lens. Lovely. I love macro. It's really fun. Really technical, but really fun. So there, and of course, can't forget about Donatello, who's right here in front of my laptop. So that's just something kind of random there to throw for my guests on video, so you can see those things. Again, you can jump over to the website, and every now and then there'll be a post on social media about the gear guide or a certain piece of equipment. Okay, and so again, if you want some sort of consult, you want to ask a question about gear, I'm good. I'm here to help. Just let me know. All right. So today's topic, the main topic for this one, is product photography. I mentioned I do a little bit of product photography, and so I'd like to grow in that area as far as the amount that I do, because I really think I like it for a number of reasons. Okay, and so this is kind of like me and my own opinion. I'm going to set my opinion aside for just a second and just talk about some kind of facts, some things that you should probably know about product photography. So if you want to get into it or you want to improve in it, something like that, that's really what I'm going to spend the bulk of the time on. Okay, And so, what are some of the challenges or what's easy, that sort of thing. This will kind of help maybe decide if it's something that you want to explore. Okay? Number one, the reason why I think a lot of people like product photography, and I'm saying people, a lot of my students, when I've taught photography at the high school level and even below that at middle school, product photography is one of those things where people who are more introverts, right, or declare themselves introverts, don't like to deal with a lot of people, they can actually do this really well. I mean, they can just lock themselves in a room, go over to a table or something, right, set up their lights, get their products. They don't have to talk to anybody, don't have to tell anything to turn, and it's just a product, right, just a thing that they're able to manipulate and kind of place the way they want, get the light, just a shot, not too bad. The product's not going to care, right? It's not gonna go anywhere. It's not on a time schedule. You just don't have to deal with a lot of the things that you have to deal with when you're interacting with people. And so for those that are more fly on the wall kind of thing, if you're not really doing event photography, where you're just able to kind of sit back and watch and just snap some pictures, right? Then the next step of introversion, if you will, next step of just kind of stepping away would be something like product photography. To where you can just kind of sit on your own and do your thing, right? And so it's not a bad thing. I mean, different personalities, different people have different ways, right? And so I actually was the shyest in my family, and I turned out to teach and coach, and now I'm doing this, right? So I wouldn't really declare myself like a total introvert anymore, but I still love product photography because it's something that you can do and not really have distractions, not really have a lot of just conversation you have to have, that sort of thing. You can just kind of get in your own zone, play some music, and then just kind of go at it, right? So that's one of the things there. So introvert, it's really kind of for those, I think, that like that style of thing where you don't have to be bothered by a bunch of people. Another thing, this is number 2, lighting, okay? And so I don't think this is really different from really any other form of photography because lighting is so key, but with product photography, it almost takes it up a notch because the goal for product photography is selling a product, selling something. So you've got to light that thing to where it's intriguing, it's attractive, and it catches the eye, right? So if your shadows are you just got a bunch of shadows, you can't see much of the detail, right? That sort of thing. Then how does that compete with the stuff that you see on Amazon? How does that compete with the stuff that you see at the other professional levels, right? So if you go shopping on anything online, that's commercial product photography. And we're used to seeing that stuff, but how to achieve that is something that a lot of people really didn't kind of take into account, right? Because the 2 main things you'll notice are the lighting, and I'll say you won't notice, honestly, because people don't realize it because it's just that much of an attention grabber, it pops, right? Because the lighting is key. Lighting really determines, grabs the attention, okay? The other thing is the background, okay? So you see a lot more now of photos that are kind of stylized, right? There's stuff around them, background has more elements to it, but you still have a lot of those websites especially, right, where the only thing showing is the product. Like it's just a clean background, solid color, right, and then boom, it's that product. And that can be achieved a couple different ways. If you are a Photoshop, I'll say fan, then you can take your pictures and then cut them out and do that whole sort of process. But it takes a bit of time, right? It does. And so if you're not doing a ton of them, then great, yeah, you can do that. Or you could actually have a dedicated space or some place, something that you can set up to where you create that seamless color, right, as a background, and then all you really have to do is just kind of tweak as far as your basic exposure and contrast and all that kind of stuff, and then you're done, right? So that is basically kind of what I would recommend, is ultimately to kind of have your own space, okay, and so maybe it's not just dedicated where it's that all the time, but know where and how you're going to get those shots so you can do it consistently. And that's the thing. The thing about this is I'm always coming from an angle of longevity, of what you can do and do well and do over and over and over consistently. And that's kind of what you have to think about for success. Because success is not getting, this client and that client, and then they loved them, but you can't repeat it, right? Someone else comes to you, or it's a month later, and you can't duplicate that, right? And you can't keep doing it. And so knowing that you have that dedicated space or equipment for that thing, for that product photography, is key. And obviously you want to grow in it, so the things will change, but you just always kind of have to have that to, I think, do things well in this realm. So we have the background, and then also for that background, the other thing for background is understanding aperture, because you can use aperture in a way to kind of blur your background, not kind of, but actually blur the background. And so that helps to create the separation that you're looking for, as opposed to just like a solid color. Okay, and so that's something you could do. Not really something that's done very, very, very often. Normally it's done with the color and that sort of thing, just a solid deal, cut them out, or have it set up and do your solid color background. Now, some other stuff. This is kind of weird, this is coming in at number 4, but know the end product, right? So if you're doing product photography, it kind of sounds weird saying know the end product, but know what you're going to use those images for, because there's so many platforms and there's so many, we'll call them framings that you can use, that sort of thing. We'll call it aspect ratio. Okay, so if you're going to do something as a story on social media, that's a 16:9, right? Well, you're going to have to frame your stuff ahead of time to where that can actually fit. Okay, or maybe you got lucky and it'll fit, right? But know those things ahead of time. Okay, if you're just really posting, it needs to be square. Okay, just about every vendor, if you will, that's online, they'll tell you what they want for those type of images. So Amazon, square, white background, right? That's what you see. And so there are others that have those same sort of requirements. And if you're doing this for a business purpose, then you're going to want to have that knowledge ahead of time so you can get the shots and not really have to worry about, do I have to redo this, or can I use that one? That frame, that one's not really. Yeah, you eliminate that if you know up front what you got to do. Okay, so just being intentional. That's kind of one of my buzzwords. Always know what you're doing and the steps you're taking to get there. Okay, and then the last one I just kind of threw in here. So end product was 4. 5, I threw in as a question. Okay, and so here's the question. What type of camera do you need? Do you need an expensive camera to do product photography? And I think this is another thing that's intriguing to me. It is intriguing to me because the answer to that is no. You don't need an expensive camera to get started in product photography, or even to get, I'd say, good product photos. You can use a cell phone. Okay, if your lighting is on point and you've got a good background setup and you've got one of the newer model phones, you have to know kind of how to frame it, right? So you don't want to distort your images and that sort of thing. So there may be something, if your camera has multiple lenses, try the different lenses, see which one actually works the best as far as the quality on the image on the back side of things. And then you may really be able to do it without investing in $800 camera, right? And then another $500 for an expensive lens, and that kind of thing. You may want to work up to that because using your cell phone is not a bad thing, but it is a communication device, and so racking up photos on that really tends to detract eventually. Okay, unless you have just a dedicated phone, like an old phone that you're using, which I did at some point. I do that sometimes for some videos and for some live feeds. It's just an old iPhone with a lens on it, and that's not a bad thing. So I'm still using it. I hope it's not bad. So there you go. That's my thoughts about being a product photographer or getting into product photography. The market for product photography is all over the place, honestly. I mean, some people, they just use their cell phone and they snap their own pictures and they use that stuff. Others believe, hey, I need a professional product photographer that knows their stuff and can do this consistently because I'm going to have more products later and I want it all to be consistent. And da. So there's so many needs out there that product photography, the market is just all over the place. And so it's easy to get into. And so if it's something fun for you, something that you can get into, It's not a lot of cost to get into it, and you know, if it can make you a little bit of money, then it might be worth trying, right? So that's that being said, I think I'm just going to go ahead and give the bottom line here, right? So what does it take to be a product photographer? Number one, it takes patience, okay? And so those that are more introverted, that like to have time to themselves and kind of process, right? They're more kind of, they lean to that side a little bit more anyway. And so that sort of thing, be intentional about your shots, knowing things ahead of time, and then understanding what the end goal is, okay? And so that's pretty much it. I think it's not, I don't want to say it's easy, because there's no real field in photography that's like super easy, because to master it, master anything, really, it takes time, okay? And so that's pretty much it. Hopefully this makes sense to you and was something that was interesting. If you have any questions, any comments, you can send those to me. You can actually text at 254-307-7469. Or you can find me on social media. So Facebook would be Photo Camera Coach, and Instagram would be camera.coach. So that's one way you can follow, you can share, all the things like, you know, just engage the content there. There's some other things that you can do to just kind of look at other pictures, right, and learn from that aspect, and just maybe communicate a little bit through social media if that's your thing. If social media is not your thing, then the website will probably be the best spot for you, and that is www.photocameracoach.com. Okay, photocameracoach.com. Some things that are coming up are really, really soon. Spring 2023, which is January, right around the corner. I will be rolling out some classes, some youth camps, some workshops, and some meetups for those that are interested in photography in the Central Texas area. And beyond, really, there will be some virtual options for some of this stuff. I'm going to work on the local, the here stuff first, and then kind of make sure that that's solid, and then kind of implement some of the more, some of the virtual stuff for those that are farther out of the area. So know that that's coming. If you have any questions about that, you want more information about it, then you can definitely go to the website. You can go to social media or contact us directly, contact me directly, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. All right, so you can follow us, you can learn with us, you can also support us, and that's again through Patreon. So patreon.com/camera coach. You can subscribe for as little as $5 a month. All right, and that about wraps everything up here. Hopefully this is something, again, like I said, that was helpful and interesting, and be on the lookout for the YouTube video as well, okay? Hope you guys have a great day, and this is Corey signing off. Have a good one.